Good morning, everyone. Jake, can you hear me? And Johanna, are you in the Zoom room? And can you start Live Manager?
I'm here and Live Manager has started.
Okay, let me make sure it's up and running.
And I am here and can hear you, Sam.
Great, okay. We are up and running and let's just start. Okay, so Chair Sabatier, I think we are ready. Oh, when you are. And thank you, HR, for this wonderful decoration that you provided. The chambers looks just fabulous.
All right, it is 9:01 a.m. Let's go ahead and get our meeting started. Today is December 14th, 2021. This is a regular meeting of the Board of Supervisors for the County of Lake, and we will begin with a moment of silence. Is there a moment of silence from anybody on the board? So we all know that there was an unfortunate, devastating tornado or tornadoes over in the Midwest, hitting many states and unfortunately losing many lives of people that are very, any loss is always a huge devastating blow to anyone. We know what devastation and tragedy of natural disasters feel like, and I feel that today we should be in solidarity with the people that are dealing with the aftermath of that tragedy and have a moment of silence for all of them. Supervisor Crandall, would you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Yes. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. And moving on to item number 4, consideration of extra items not appearing on the posted agenda. I have not heard of any. Are there any extra items from board members? Anything from staff? All right, and seeing none, let's go ahead and move on. We have the approval of the consent agenda. Are there any items board members wish to pull for further discussion? I have not heard any from staff to be pulled. All right, let's go ahead and open up for the public. Anyone from the public wish to pull an item from the consent agenda for further discussion? And I'm opening up my Zoom attendee list just to check in. I see no hands up in the Zoom room for pulling a consent agenda item, and I see none in the boardroom, so let's go ahead and bring it back to the board for action.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve consent agenda items 5.1 through 5.8.
Second.
We have a motion from Supervisor Scott, second by Supervisor Pyska. Roll call, please. Johanna, good morning.
Good morning. Supervisor Simon?
Aye.
Supervisor Crandall?
Yes.
Supervisor Scott,
Aye.
Supervisor Pyska,
Yes.
and Supervisor Sabatier.
Aye.
Thank you.
And so we have a little bit of time before public input, so I'd say let's go ahead and take up item 7.2. That should be brief. Consideration of appointments of a director and alternate to the California State Association of Counties CSAC Board of Directors for 2022. As the board saw with what was presented in 2020-21, I was your member for CSAC. I believe that Supervisor Scott is the alternate, is that correct? Because I didn't see that on there. It gave us the global list of members for the state. Just wanted to let the board know that I would love to continue in that capacity, and I have also requested CSAC that I become more involved in their Administration of Justice Policy Committee and their Agriculture Policy Committee. And I know in speaking with our CAO, we will figure out a way to express the activities of that committee so that the Ag Committee can be aware of what is happening statewide and what kind of policies CSAC is looking to push. That way you're able to go back without a Brown Act violation to your committees and be able to carry on with those conversations as well. But I don't know if Supervisor Scott wants to continue as the alternate, and so opening up for discussion.
I'm in agreement.
All right, that seemed to be as easy as I thought it would be. Let's open it up for the public. Any comments from the public on the appointment for CSAC directors? Seeing none in our board chambers and seeing no hands up in the Zoom room, bringing it back for action.
So motion to appoint Bruno Sabatier as CSAC director and Tina Scott as alternate for the California State Association of Counties Board of Directors for 2022.
Second.
We have a motion from Vice Chair Crandall and a second by Supervisor Pyska. Roll call, please.
Okay, Supervisor Simon,
Yes.
Supervisor Crandall,
Yes.
Supervisor Scott,
Aye.
Supervisor Pyska,
Yes.
and Supervisor Sabatier.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And let's go on to item 6.1, our 9:05 a.m. public input item. If you wish to publicly express yourself to the Board of Supervisors on anything not related to an agenda item currently on our agenda, you would have 3 minutes. Please raise your hand, and we'll start in the Zoom room. We have Carlos Bono.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Good morning, Board of Supervisors. This is Carlos Bono. I'm going to read some excerpts from an article I wrote last week called "What Lake County Can Learn from Oroville." On November 2nd, 2021, the City Council of Oroville voted 6-1 in favor of a resolution that established the city as a constitutional republic. The measure was intended to protect the city's inhabitants' individual rights and freedoms from federal and state unconstitutional mandates related to the SARS-CoV-2 pandemic. With this resolution, Oroville declared that it would not enforce or comply with any executive order issued by the state of California or by the United States federal government that are overreaching or clearly violate our constitutionally protected rights. In passing this resolution, Oroville stood up against the massive government overreach that the threatened COVID-19 medical mandates represent. Oroville has also taken action to deter further mandates and executive orders. Lake County needs to take a similar approach to avoid the encroachment of medical tyranny closer to home. This action was taken by Oroville community leaders in response to threats by state and federal officials to impose medical mandates that would affect the community. Keep in mind that Oroville's resolution voices its city council's opposition to unconstitutional mandates and executive orders, not laws. Because these mandates are not laws, the city of Oroville is choosing to not follow any unconstitutional and hence unlawful mandates and/or executive orders. In Lake County, we have a Board of Supervisors consisting of elected officials who have taken an oath of office to represent the interests of their constituents, as well as to protect and defend the U.S. and state constitutions against all enemies, foreign and domestic. The Board of Supervisors also recites the Pledge of Allegiance before all the meetings on Tuesdays. In the past, the Lake County Board of Supervisors has generally sided with these unconstitutional state and federal mandates. Lake County has even received considerable funding from federal and state governments to continue promoting these mandates on the people of Lake County. The people of Lake County must insist that these elected representatives pursue our best interests and protect our freedoms. The Board of Supervisors should also be held personally financially liable for any harm that the ill-advised mandates they promote and support may cause. These include adverse vaccine events, including deaths, the loss of employment or business income, and any other negative consequences people have directly suffered due to the unconstitutional mandates. Furthermore, paid medical establishment representatives have been given the floor at official public BOS meetings in Lake County to express their highly debatable opinions at length on the topic of COVID-19 and vaccines without citing any scientific evidence or allowing themselves to be meaningfully questioned by the public. One of these individuals even went so far as to misleadingly refer to the experimental mRNA gene therapy jab as a superb vaccine, quote. According to the traditional definition, a vaccine must immunize recipients against acquiring an infection. The new type of gene therapy used in the mRNA COVID vaccines obviously does not act as a vaccine in the traditional sense, since breakthrough COVID cases are so very prevalent among the vaccinated.
And your 3 minutes are up, if you can finish your comment.
Yes, I would like to direct all the citizens of Lake County to our petition at standuplakecounty.org. And as soon as we receive 1,000 signatures, we will be presenting it before the Board of Supervisors. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Next, we have a hand up from a staff member, Marina Deligiannis from Water Resources.
Hi, good morning, Board. Thank you, Mr. Chair, for calling on me. My name is Marina Deligiannis, and I serve as the Deputy Water Resources Director for the Lake County Watershed Protection District. I also serve as the lead for the Big Valley Groundwater Sustainability Plan Advisory Committee. I'm here to provide the community an update and notification on some upcoming groundwater meetings that we have taking place this week and next week. So the first public meeting that we have regarding our Big Valley Groundwater Sustainability Plan, the development and the implementation, will be this Thursday, December 16th from 5:30 p.m. to 7 p.m. This will be a Big Valley open house. All are welcome to join, and this will be via hybrid format, so you can join us via Zoom, or you can join us in person at the board chambers. Again, COVID safety protocols will be followed if you join us in person. Our next public meeting will be taking place this Friday, which is December 17th, from 11 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. This is our December Big Valley Groundwater Sustainability Plan Advisory Committee, again, via hybrid format. You can join us in Conference Room C instead of the board chambers for this meeting, and that is on the 3rd floor of the Lake County Courthouse, or you can call in via Zoom. Now on Tuesday, December 21st, that is next Tuesday, we will be giving an update at the Board of Supervisors meeting regarding the development and the adoption and submittal process of our Big Valley GSP. Just as a reminder, this plan is due to the state by January 31st, 2022. So we have some key milestone dates that we'll be hitting in the next few weeks, and we just want the community to be informed and involved with that as much as possible. So if you have any questions about any of these upcoming public meetings, you can check all this meeting information on the Water Resources website by Lake County Water Resources. You can give us a call at 707-263-2344 or send us an email at water.resources@lakecountysta.gov or come see us on the 3rd floor. So thank you so much for calling on me, and we hope to see you guys there.
Thank you very much. Next, we have Julia Bono.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Awesome, thank you. Hello, my name is Julia Bono. I have a background in science, and I wish to communicate to the board some scientific facts about the COVID-19 vaccines and their adverse events. Overall, at least 234,269,053 people, or about 71% of the population, has received at least one dose of COVID-19 vaccination in the United States. Overall, 197,838,728 people, or roughly 60% of the population, have been fully vaccinated. This is according to data from USA Facts. Those who were vaccinated experienced 946,461 adverse events that were reported to the database held by the CDC as of December 3rd, 2021, according to the CDC's Vaccine Adverse Event Database. Those adverse events include 19,886 deaths, 102,857 hospitalizations, 104,217 urgent care events, 148,181 doctor office visits, 8,432 anaphylaxis events, 11,896 Bell's palsy events, including a friend of mine, 3 whose face were paralyzed for 2 months after a vaccine, 3,230 miscarriages, 9,977 heart attacks, 16,918 myocarditis, pericarditis events, many of which probably will be fatal within five years, 32,644 permanently disabled individuals, 4,717 thrombocytopenia low platelet events, 22,422 life-threatening events, 35,009 severe allergic reactions, 10,946 shingles. Among those adverse events among the heart attacks was my sister-in-law, who suffered a heart attack 2 days after experiencing the Moderna vaccine. And this, her event was reported to the CDC by her doctors. I just wanted to say that these vaccines should not be misrepresented as safe. They do have harms associated with them. People need to be aware of that. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for your comment. Next is phone 1113.
Yes, hi. This is Will Tuttle, Dr. Will Tuttle, and I'm calling also to make a comment about the handling of the COVID response in Lake County by supervisors, and again, to emphasize several things. We just heard about the VAERS data. I want to add to that a recent report by Jessica Rose, PhD, who's an expert specifically focusing on immunology research and data. She's a data scientist. Her research indicates that the VAERS data is underreporting the events by a factor of 31. So we should be multiplying this, according to her, by 31. So we're talking about a huge number, perhaps around 30 million adverse effects, with many more people being killed than is actually being reported. The numbers are being suppressed. I think everyone pretty much agrees on that. So the thing to understand here is that we've never had any in the history of vaccines anything remotely close to this in terms of deadliness, and not only killing people but also severely harming them on a long-term basis. And this is just getting started. A lot of the researchers are saying that the blood clotting effects and spike proteins that are induced by these are really long-term, 2, 3, 4 year harm that's going to be experienced, especially by children, but by everyone. So we have, coupled with that, the basic crushing of our liberties, our basic freedoms for bodily autonomy and for being able to travel and so forth. We see that rolling out increasingly in many countries, also especially in California, more than most of the other states. So I want to really, again, urge and I would say demand that the board look at this and read the other side of the story, besides what we're hearing in the mainstream media and from researchers who are on the payroll, either directly or indirectly, and scientists and doctors who are directly or indirectly on the payroll of Fauci and NIAID and also the AMA and so forth, who will lose their licenses if they speak up. And really take a hard look at these data, and also at the ways that people are being harmed in many other ways by just the stress of being told that they are going to lose their job or they can't go into this building unless they're vaccinated or wearing a mask. There's also a tremendous amount of information that has come out showing that the masks are harmful, that we're re-inhaling carbon dioxide, creating hyperapnea and also hypoxia and hyperpenia. And so these are serious things. And
3 minutes are up. If you can get to your final statement.
Long-term problems with Alzheimer's and other problems. So again, to just complete there, but to thank you for taking this seriously. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next is phone 2689.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
My name is Christina Robertson, and I just want to reiterate maybe some of the points that have been made. According to the CDC, the death rate for children under 19 with COVID-19 is 0. Therefore, children are not warranted to be vaccinated. According to CDC, Center for Disease Control, not one healthy child has died of COVID-19 as of June 2022, or who has not had underlying comorbidities. Therefore, healthy children should not be vaccinated. According to Center of Disease Control, the COVID-19 vaccines will not prevent COVID transmission or infection. Therefore, the vaccines are not effective. According to the CDC, vaccinated people are not less infectious, I'm reading off of a sheet, to acquire and transmit COVID-19. They acquire and transmit COVID-19 just as easily and as often as people who have been vaccinated. Therefore, the vaccines are not effective. According to CDC and FDA, COVID vaccines pose risks of death, to name a few, predominantly in adolescents. We're talking about the myocardiology. Therefore, the vaccines are not safe. So I'm going to stop there, and I just think that the Board of Supervisors really needs to listen to all of the information, really valid information, well-researched information from many sources, and take heed. This is an important issue. These vaccines are not safe, and they're not working. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for your comment. I believe there's a hand up in the boardroom. Please come on up.
John Moss.
Can you pull your mask down, please?
Okay. I thought that we had a law that we passed that we don't have to wear masks.
I'm not quite sure about that. No, in the
Okay.
building, it was continued and decided by the Board of Supervisors that in public facilities, we still wear masks. And as of tomorrow, the state of California has also requested that all indoor masking.
Thank you very much. This is from page 371 of The Real Anthony Fauci by Robert F. Kennedy. One paragraph I want to read to you. The compelling evidence suggesting that COVID-19 emanated from a Fauci-funded little shop of horrors in Wuhan, China, raises the ironic possibility that the man whom 2 U.S. presidents have charged with leading the global response to the COVID-19 pandemic may be the same man who spawned it. That strange paradox might cause some to cynically ponder the logic behind Dr. Fauci's peculiar decisions to defy President Obama's 2014 gain-of-function moratorium, to dodge NIH's Internal Safety Review Committee, to launder money to Chinese scientists with military affiliations through a sketchy bioweapons grifter, to financially, criminally reckless experiments minting souped-up pathogens in a shabby Chinese lab with lax safety protocols. Are we justified in asking ourselves whether Tony Fauci, after decades of concocting toothless pandemics, was finally peppering the wig? And that's something he explains earlier. Thank you. This has sold out, and they're ordering new copies. I beg you. This is the other side of the COVID-19 pandemic. It made me cry about the children. Thank you.
Thank you for the comment. And with that, I believe we are done with public comment, and so we will be moving on.
You had one right there.
Oh, no, that was that one.
You didn't get any paper public comments? Okay. There was a gentleman, but maybe he wishes to wait later,
Okay.
to later, a later date.
So let's move on. We have 6 more minutes before we get to our 6.2. And so let's go ahead and talk about 7.3, consideration of letter to the California Department of Water Resources in opposition to the Sonoma County Water Agency's grant application requesting funding for Potter Valley project related matters. CAO Hutchinson.
It's not on Granicus.
Oops. Yeah. Sorry about that, Mr. Chair.
It's not?
No, it didn't load on Granicus.
Oh, it loaded for me. That's weird.
Oh.
And that would be a very long letter to go through. Did anybody else have struggles opening up the letter?
Off the website, I guess.
And that's where I am right now, and it opened up.
Huh.
And that's where I've been opening it up the entire weekend, so maybe there was
I tried to open it many times and it didn't open. I'll try.
And CAO Hutchinson, if there's a way to summarize the letter as well as possible.
Yes, in fact, would you like us to do a share screen? I know
Yes.
it's a long letter, but
yeah.
I think it's an important letter.
We can post it. And so Patrick Sullivan, I just invited him in and want to introduce him, our tax administrator. He prepared the original draft of this letter, and then our subcommittee, of course, made some modifications to it. And so, Patrick, are you able to do a share screen and present the letter? I see you here with us.
Yes, just give me one moment. I just got brought in as a panelist, so I'm trying to bring that up right now for a share screen.
Thank you, Patrick.
And while we're waiting for that, I think that Supervisor Crandall and myself can also help introduce the letter. Supervisor Crandall, would you like to offer some comments?
Here it is as well, Mr. Chair. It's up.
Yeah, I did, and now I have it.
Supervisor Crandall, did you want to make a comment or did you want to wait?
Yeah, I'll wait.
Okay.
And so, Patrick, can you do a single-page view? I think otherwise people won't be able to see it very well.
Can everyone see this all right?
It's getting better. Keep going.
Okay.
That's good right there.
There you go.
Perfect. So this letter is it's regarding the Sonoma County Water Agency's application under the state grant program. What our letter initially begins with is some of the background behind the Potter Valley project and Lake County's exclusion from participation. I think as many are aware, Scott Dam was built creating Lake Pillsbury. That's when the year-round diversion began of Eel River water into the Russian River Basin. This letter highlights Representative Jared Huffman, who represents parts of Marin, Sonoma, Mendocino, and Humboldt. His efforts to create an ad hoc committee, and that's where, in more recent times, Lake County's participation was somewhat minimized. This committee was focused a lot on Eel River and Russian River interests in Humboldt, Mendocino, and Sonoma. And there wasn't much attention, as far as we could tell, paid to Lake County. We weren't included in a meaningful way in a lot of the goals that they had as part of their efforts. And Lake County interests, such as the homeowners around Lake Pillsbury, were not allowed to participate in the way that interest groups in the other counties were. So the letter walks through this background, explains how we did not have a seat at the table in the same way that others did, and especially when the two-basin partnership was created, sort of a smaller subset of that committee formed by Representative Huffman that comprised of Sonoma, Mendocino, Humboldt, and Cal Trout, and there were a few later additions, but Lake County was not permitted to participate in that. So these groups have been having meetings deciding and studying how to impact or changes that could impact Lake County, including the removal of Scott Dam. And the headwaters of the Eel there are in Lake County, Lake Pillsbury is in Lake County, and this letter is expressing that we have not been included in a meaningful way. The next section is walking through what's happened recently with FERC, the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission. There was a request by this group to provide additional time and extension. FERC did not grant that extension. And so, and it's partially because the money at stake. The Sonoma County Water and its partners were not able to raise the $18 million needed to conduct initial studies that FERC had requested. And without that capital, it doesn't appear there's any way forward for them to proceed. At least that was our thought here. The ultimate cost of taking out the dam, early estimates have been upward of $400 to $500 million. And a lot of the uncertainty in that centers around the need for environmental and economic mitigation in Lake County. If the dam's removed, there's major impacts to sediment. They have to drop all of that sediment. They're going to excavate somewhere. There can be issues with groundwater, impacts for wildfire, access to water. There's a wide range of impacts, and a lot of those costs, potentially more than half the cost of this project, could involve those mitigation efforts in Lake County. And again, we just weren't included in a meaningful way. And the option that included fish passage didn't seem to be addressed in a meaningful manner because it wasn't what some of the groups wanted most. Fish passage would be a potential way to remedy this if, like for instance, the fish ladder was put in at Scott Dam. That could solve this issue and provide solutions that everyone could work with. The next section is talking about PG&E's role in this, and it's just highlighting that what brought us to this point is PG&E's decision to withdraw from the Potter Valley project. They want out of it. It's not profitable anymore for them. And as a public utility, they ultimately need permission from regulators for CPUC others to sort of escape this liability. So that license transfer would have got PG&E off the license, and it would have transferred to that planning group or whatever entity they intended to create, which would have been an entity with oversight over Lake County, but we weren't brought in as a part of that either. PG&E, if they were let off the hook essentially, would not have to pay for all of those mitigation costs we had just discussed here. So this is just highlighting that PG&E made the decision to, well, it's their effort to abandon this project, which has provided water to many communities now for over 100 years, and it's for financial reasons. So it's sort of an artificial crisis that's been created on PG&E's timeline for us. And the final section of our letter here was just bringing up that further decision-making should occur in an open, transparent forum to encourage public participation. A lot of the efforts surrounding the Potter Valley project and the potential decommissioning of Scott Dam have occurred behind closed doors. Congressman Huffman's commission, or his committee, was not open to the public, and efforts were made to keep notes more minimal so that people could speak more freely, but that also meant the public wasn't as aware of what was going on. The notice of intent parties, that two-basin partnership, their meetings also weren't open to the public. So a lot of the decision makers in this have not really provided the public with the opportunity for discussion here and to understand the potential risks and benefits of each option that's been considered. So those are the highlights of our letter, and if there's any questions or anything you want me to go back to, please let me know.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sullivan. Want to open it up for Supervisor Crandall for any comments or additional information he wants to add.
I'll just add to...
And if we can get the lights on, please. Thank you.
I'll just add as well that with Patrick's statement about a lot of the meetings happening, in closed doors and whatnot, another attribute was that when we reached out for help with Congressman Garamendi. They asked for minutes and things of those natures, and all we really got was word of mouth. So very, very, very hard to produce what someone's doing without that information. So that, for me, is a little more telling. I like the letter that Patrick wrote. It states everything that we've been stating in every ad hoc committee meeting that we went to. And I know yesterday I met with some folks, Mendocino County, and they had just discussed with us and tried to get into more discussions about our point of view and understand that we would like to be recognized and whatnot more. Also, they found out about the letter and asked for us to consider some verbiage that they offered. And I don't know if it was sent out, but I could read it briefly. And in the first paragraph, after it states, it says, our understanding is that these funds would be used in support of Sonoma County Water Agency's activities surrounding the Potter Valley Project. And then this is the new verbiage. We understand that the funds will go for three purposes. First, assess the cost to operate the water diversion infrastructure of the Potter Valley Project as a basis for smart decisions to operate the project or portions of the project. Second, form a Russian River Water Users Forum to engage on the preservation and funding of that infrastructure. Third, assess water supply reliability opportunities in the Potter Valley in Mendocino County. We are supportive of or have no objection to DWR providing funding for these services. However, the County of Lake, while not aware of all details surrounding Sonoma County Water's Agency's application, is vehemently opposed to the provision of state funding to advance the removal of Scott Dam to any outside agency that is attempting to operate in our county in a collaborative manner. Although I appreciate them offering this, I feel like it kind of, I mean, as much as I want to be, collaborative with different agencies and assist them with this, it just demeans our letter in general, so I'd rather just stick with the letter that we have. And I appreciate them offering this. I appreciate the meeting, but I don't really want to dilute the letter that we worked hard on. So just wanted to state that. And so that they knew that our meeting had some sort of result yesterday, because it was a really positive meeting that had surrounding the ad hoc committee for Potter Valley for quite some time. Usually we have issues and arguments, and but with these folks I didn't have that. So yeah, just wanted to mention that.
And I'll add to that, and I appreciate that they reached out to you. I know you and I had a conversation about it yesterday, and I think that already the letter shares a little bit of success by getting their attention, that we don't want people to decide what happens in our community that we are in, that's our jurisdiction to serve, and yet they're trying to attempt to do things. Now, I want to make sure that the board is aware. I don't want us to get all the way to the point of voting, that this letter has the potential of shots fired. The board of directors for Sonoma County Water is the board of supervisors for Sonoma County. And so they submitted an application for a grant due to the drought, but within that grant, it talks about purchasing key components of the Potter Valley project. It talks about, it's not just drought issues, it also talks about the Scotts Dam situation. And in my opinion, I agree with Supervisor Crandall that had there been a conversation saying, hey, we want to submit this grant, how do you guys feel about it? How can we work together to figure out what needs to happen? Then I would be more accepting of their grant. But the fact that they didn't even try to communicate with us, and that within their grant, they're trying to do things and obtain things within our jurisdiction, I have huge problems with that. I think it's just a continued action of what we've been seeing, and I think that this letter needs to be submitted so that they can rethink in how it is that they think they can bully and walk right through and steamroll Lake County. And so that's my perspective on that. I'm open for continued discussion, which I think that things will continue from the communication that you had yesterday, Supervisor Crandall. And I'm glad that we're getting their attention, because we need to work together, not be pushed to the side where we just deal with whatever the results of their actions are. Supervisor Scott.
And for me, you said, this letter's going to be like shots fired, but I think we have to look at, we're not the ones that fired first. We're trying to protect what we have here in Lake County. I think for many years, they have just bullied Lake County and said, you're going to do what we want you to do, and you're just going to take it. And we have been fighting for a seat at this table for way too long. We should have been at the table at the beginning. So it's definitely, we need to protect what we have here. And so I don't think it's shots fired. We're just protecting what we have because they've been taking advantage of us.
Supervisor Crandall?
Yes, and I just want to add to that Mendocino, who we met with yesterday, has not necessarily been shooting, any types of shots at us. They've been pretty much just kind of on their path in the whole NOI party situation, and so that's another reason why I appreciated our discussion yesterday. And I know that this letter, it may seem like it floods over into oppositional against them, but it's really when Congressman had brought it up in the ad hoc committee meeting and asked for support, I'd stated we don't have any support. And one of the biggest concepts for me, another to add to some of the irregularities and things of that nature, is the fact that they keep using fish passage when we know it's mainly about water, where the water is going to go. And so we've had letters to FERC and all these other agencies explaining why fish passage isn't, to us, the solution. We think it's just kind of like something that we're talking about to help, gain favor in their act, in their plight. So I just wanted to add that. Yeah.
And also, this originates from an email that Supervisor Crandall and I received from Congressman Huffman. I have a feeling it's the last I will ever be receiving, to ask us to support this grant. And so this is where the letter originates from that you see before you. So I have a feeling I'm not going to be hearing from Mr. Driscoll's email much more.
And I just want to add too, I'm a big fan of collaboration and working together. But again, we have to make sure that we are taking care and protecting what we have here before we collaborate.
And collaboration starts before decisions are made.
Yeah.
Not after decisions are made.
And then that to add is like when I mentioned, once we argued fish passage to pretty much to the point where no one wanted to talk about it anymore, then it became, well, who's going to really take over the project? Okay, we're here now. We could have talked about that how long ago? Collaboratively, but there was no discussion about it. It was just dam removal, decommissioning, all of that. So as it commonly happens in the most recent meetings and discussions, that, well, who's going to take over the project? That's the thing that they put in our laps as Lake County. And it's like, well, we don't know now. We didn't know then, but we would have liked to talk about it then. So, yeah, rather than, have studies only focusing on decommissioning, and focus on other things that could potentially be a collaborative effort or something that works for everyone, but it never became that. So. Yeah.
And before opening up for public comment, I just want to share appreciation for Mr. Sullivan's efforts in writing the letter. Very well formatted, very well argued. Appreciate his time in drafting up that letter. And we have a comment from Supervisor Simon.
Yeah, obviously just want to state support for the letter, but I just want to talk about everything that we're dealing with here in Lake County. We just had a conversation about, infrastructure dollars that are coming down and other things. So we need to be keeping up as many dams as possible right now with climate change, with the fires that we're experiencing. I know we've had multiple conversations here about getting a seat at the table as we move forward with this. And the jurisdiction stuff, you hit it right on the head, Supervisor Sabatier. If you want to do something in Lake County, then you approach us and we can do it collaboratively. And that's the message we need to send. So in complete support And I know, and I would imagine, all of the advisory committees that you sit on in the North Shore probably talk about this topic a lot, but this is a topic also that comes up at the Middletown Area Town Hall. We just talked about it this last Thursday. You know, the question was, hey, is there anyone thinking about building dams? I said, well, no, but there are outside sources talking about taking a dam down in Lake County, and we're going to continue to push that fight, you know, in favor of keeping it up and being collaborative if something's going to happen. But you know, I want to thank you for bringing the letter here. I want to thank you for the hard work, because I know it's not been easy. We've had reports and conversations of how it's gone to this point, and hopefully this will be one step in the right direction for collaboration. So, in complete support of the letter.
Thank you for your comment.
And thank you. Pat wrote the letter, so. But, yeah.
Let's go ahead and open up for the public. I see we have a hand up in the Zoom room. Betsy Kahn.
Thank you, Chairman Sabatier. I just have one question for Supervisor Crandall. I would like to know the name of the entity that you were speaking with yesterday, because there is an entity called the Mendocino Inland Power and Water Agency, which has been the major proponent for these changes. And I'm just interested in knowing whether it was them or the actual county of Mendocino in the context of the Eel and Russian River Commission, or just as a county conversation?
It was a county conversation. County Supervisor Glenn McGordy was with us, and a few others, yeah. Does that answer your question?
I believe she said thank you right as she was being cut off, but maybe I'm mistaken in what I heard. And let's go ahead and move on to Carol Sinquini.
Good morning, and thank you. And thank you for your hard work and all of the comments we've heard this morning. It's been wonderful. Some of you know I am one of the directors of the Lake Pillsbury Alliance. We're dedicated to the preservation of Lake Pillsbury for public benefit. And in October of 2020, Representative Huffman was quoted as saying, "There will come a point where people in Lake County realize this dam is not long for this world." In October 21st of 2021, he was quoted as saying, "The Eel River stakeholders have been willing to commit to that water supply certainty for the Russian River, and the Russian River stakeholders have been willing to commit to dam removal on the Eel River side." Those are two pieces that hold this together. There should be many opportunities for a revitalized Potter Valley project, one that assures water supply, fish passage, and habitat restoration. And these deserve to be explored, and Lake County should not be minimized in this process. Over the last 2 years, we have attended a number of meetings in Mendocino and Sonoma counties, some very recently, and I can assure you that no other agencies or entities are standing up for Lake Pillsbury. They want the water, but they don't want the dam. We strongly encourage you to approve this board action and any other action that can be taken to slow this down so that collaborative conversations can be done. This is not a done deal. It doesn't have to be a done deal. When we talk about purchasing diversion facilities, most of those discussions currently are diversion facilities without Scott Dam. As always, Lake Pillsbury Alliance appreciates the time, and we appreciate your support. Thank you.
Thank you. And that does it for public comment from the Zoom room. Anyone from the board chambers on this item? And seeing no hands, let's bring it back to the board for deliberation or action.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the letter to the California Department of Water Resources in opposition to the Sonoma County Water Agency's grant application requesting funding for Potter Valley project related matters.
Second.
We have a motion from Vice Chair Crandall and a second from Supervisor Scott. Roll call, please, Johanna.
Okay, Supervisor Simon?
Yes.
Supervisor Crandall?
Aye.
Supervisor Scott?
Aye.
Supervisor Pyska?
Yes.
And Supervisor Sabatier?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. So let's go to our 9:30 a.m. item, or 9:30 a.m. item, consideration of resolution supporting the launch of the Blue Zones project.
Good morning, Supervisors.
Good
morning. I'm John Ballesteros, and I am the public advocate for the Blue Zones project here in Lake County. A little bit closer?
If you could have your mask on.
Oh, keep it on.
Please,
okay.
thank you.
I thought when you asked me to put that other person to put it down. Sorry about that. Again, John Ballesteros with the Blue Zones project here in Lake County. We launched this project in October 1st, and want to thank you for this opportunity to give you some background on our work here in Lake County. The Blue Zones project is a community-led initiative that is focused on making the lives here in Lake County of our residents healthier, happier, and longer. And we do that by aiming in 3 specific areas. The first is people, then places, and policy. When it comes to people, we try to encourage our neighbors to think about how they can live a healthier life, and then surround them with folks that are like-minded. When it comes to places, we look at the places where people live, work, and play. So your workspaces, restaurants, activity areas, your civic organizations. How can we make and influence the environments in these locations such that they almost make healthier choices second nature? Second nature, excuse me there. And then finally, policy. How can we look at and affect public policy such that our rules, our regulations, our projects encourage a healthier lifestyle? So that's what we're aiming to do over the next 4 years. And in order to really set the stage for our work, we need to get a solid foundation of the community wellness here in Lake County. And we're doing that by partnering with Boston University to conduct the real age test. Some of you may have already taken that, and we appreciate your support by taking that. Those of you that haven't, we hope that you will consider it. But what this test does is take a holistic approach of looking at community wellness, not just exercise and diet, but also the stressors that impact community wellness in any location, but particularly here in Lake County. So this is a HIPAA-compliant assessment that any participant remains completely anonymous, and we have a deadline of December 31st to complete our assessment. And this will help us inform our future work, but also give us a good assessment on how to prioritize the work that we want to pursue. So the resolution before you today outlines the value of the work that we're trying to pursue in achieving the goals that your county has established, or your board has established, and then encourages the residents as well as the county staff to consider taking the test, with the goal of establishing a sound and complete assessment of what we're going to be doing, and build a solid foundation of the work we want to pursue in conjunction with a number of organizations, including the county here in Lake County. So if you haven't taken it, we encourage you to take the real age test by going to bzplakecounty.sharecare.com. And with that, I'll answer any questions you may have.
And
Mr. Chair?
BZP is Blue Zone Project, so
Correct.
BZP. Just wanted to make sure.
BZP, thank you.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate that
CEO
clarification.
Hutchinson?
Thank you. And so, Mr. Chair, John explained the resolution very well, and I just want to make sure you understand that if you decide to approve it, then the Human Resources Director would be poised, or the Human Resources Department, I should say. It may or may not be the director herself, but they will reach out to our employees and encourage them to participate in the test. And in so doing, they would probably be using about 10 minutes of county time on a county desktop computer to do so. So I wanted to make sure you understand that. And then, as we understand it also, although there would be no personally identifying information given to the county after the study is complete, at some point in time, we would at least receive some information about the general health trends involving our employees, and we thought that would be helpful as we promote other wellness activities. Your board has been committed to wellness in recent years. And so, and then for employees that may have questions about it, I believe the intent is to also host a short special Zoom meeting within the next day or so, where John and his counterpart Camlin can answer questions employees may have about it.
Okay, thank you very much. I know that there is one question that made me pause, and I need to come back to it once I get the equipment I need, is to measure around your waist above your belly button. That's not your pants measurement, because that doesn't go above your belly button, at least not anymore. And so definitely that's something that there may be the need for measurements that you're not aware of right off the bat. Maybe take those at home before you come and do that in the office. But
I think you also need to know some of your
and you
recent,
go in a sewing machine
recent
box to
blood
get that.
pressures and things like that.
That raises a really interesting point, Mr. Chair. And if you do not, if anyone's taking the test and do not have that exact information, you can go ahead and skip it, and then once you have it, you can come back. The main point is getting the assessment complete, and then once you're done with the assessment, oftentimes, it does provide you with information on how you can even lower your real age relative to your chronological age, like sleeping more or walking more, moving naturally more. But the real, if you can skip those and come back, but it's the main goal is to get that assessment complete.
Awesome. Still open on my tab at home, planning to finish and
Great.
complete it. Any comments or questions from board members? Supervisor Scott.
I just want to thank Blue Zones for coming here today. I definitely support you. Blue Zones was a project that didn't just come in and launch in Lake County. They did their research. You guys did your research before coming here, and you spoke to many community leaders. You spoke to the community itself to make sure that it was going to be a right fit here, and you were going to be able to do your work and try to understand our community before launching. So I really respect that, and I thank you, and I support this resolution.
Thank you very much. We appreciate your help.
Supervisor Pyska?
So is your goal 500? Is that what I read?
Actually, the stretch goal is 1,000.
Okay.
We've already achieved the spot of being statistically significant, but we do want to expand it to make sure that we get all voices from throughout the county. So we're shooting for 1,000.
Okay. And how many do you have now?
I think for our stretch goal, we're about 60% right now.
Okay.
The last I saw, and we have hit our the goal that we need to achieve to have a significant baseline, but we'd like to expand that. So by December 31st, we hope to hit 1,000.
Okay. So I took the test. My relative age is 3 years younger. There's some stress in my job a little bit, so I think that may have played into it. But I really appreciate the suggestions on different things that I could do to overcome those things that I can't control as much. So.
Well, if we can help you in getting achieving those steps, let us know. We're here to help.
Great.
Anything further from board members? Let's go ahead and open it up for the public. Any public comment on this agenda item and the resolution before us? And seeing none.
There's a hand up.
There is? Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't look up. I apologize. I guess I expected if there's a comment, you can come to the microphone. You don't have to be called in the boardroom.
John Moss, is this the first time this has been presented to the supervisors, number one? Number two, would employees be mandated to take this Blue Zone test?
It is both encouraged for the public to take it and encouraged for employees to take it.
But it's not mandated?
Encouraged is not mandated. And I see no further comments, so bringing it back to the board for action on the resolution.
I will offer the resolution.
Resolution's been offered by Supervisor Scott. Roll call, please, Johanna.
Okay, Supervisor Simon?
Yes.
Supervisor Crandall?
Aye.
Supervisor Scott?
Aye.
Supervisor Pyska?
Yes.
And Supervisor Sabatier?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Moving on to, and thank you very much, Blue Zones, for being with us today. And moving on to 6.3, 9:35 a.m. item A, consideration of a resolution adopting supervisorial district boundaries for the County of Lake pursuant to sections 21,500. I'm going to say that really wrong. It's SEC of the California Elections Code. I'll just read it as is. B, consideration of an ordinance rescinding ordinance number 2958, which amended Article 2, Section 2-4 of Chapter 2 of the Lake County Code, establishing the boundaries of the supervisorial district for the County of Lake pursuant to Sections 21,500 as SEC of the California Elections Code. And CAO Hutchinson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As you know, we've discussed redistricting a number of times. This is Matthew Rostein's project, so he will introduce Carolyn Walker with Prentice and Long, who is here for what we believe is the final agenda item related to redistricting.
Good morning, Board. As your Board is aware, census data is collected every 10 years, and in the year following, supervisorial districts are adjusted to ensure district populations are essentially equivalent and also to account for changes in populations among districts and for communities of interest. You approved final boundaries on November 3rd during the last of your 4 public hearings pursuant to California Elections Code Section 21507.1, and additionally, you directed staff in consultation with County Council and Prentice Long, the county's contractor for redistricting consulting services, to prepare a resolution enacting the boundaries that you set. You will recall California Elections Code Section 21500 notes boundaries can be adopted by either ordinance or resolution. The resolution must be adopted today, as the deadline to adopt final boundaries is tomorrow, December 15. Additionally, an ordinance has been prepared for you to introduce today. This will rescind the portion of the county code where boundary adjustments were enacted in response to Census 2010. And staff recommends that your board adopt the resolution and introduce the ordinance. And I also wanted to note that Carolyn Walker of Prentice Long and Lon Sharp, our county GIS specialists, are present in Zoom if you have any questions. And I want to also defer to Carolyn if you have anything to add at this time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Matthew. I actually don't. You covered everything very succinctly. But if the board has any questions, I'm happy to help answer those. And thank you very much, Matthew.
Thank you both. Thank you, Mr. Rothstein, also for all your work on this. I know that it's been a long, drawn-out process to get all of this to our to a final resolution today. Any comments or questions?
Just want to thank them for all the hard work. I know it was said at one time how smooth our operation went and how well we worked together, and I guess I didn't understand that comment till I realized what was going on with our neighboring counties. So just want to thank them for all the hard work.
So I do have a comment, and I don't want to change anything today, but I know that in reading the resolution, or let me start, reading the ordinance of the past, I could follow the specific measurements and the specific at this corner of this road and this street and so on and so forth. It was a lot more of a layman term to be able to follow. Here it is a bunch of numbers, and it's really hard to tell right off the bat, are all the numbers within a district really in this batch of numbers? And I trust that the computer knows exactly what was drawn out by Mr. Sharp, and so that the computer drew out all those numbers. I did check a bunch of the numbers just to look, and everything was correct, including the simple changes that we made, for example, between District 2 and District 1 along Dam Road. What I'm hoping is that the districting map, where you can access those numbers, the census map numbers, because that wasn't there before in the past, will still remain available, so that if anybody wishes to double check and look at our resolution and make sure that census blocks are in the correct districts, that they have the capability to do so. I think it would be a very useful map to make sure that we keep for the next 10 years on our GIS site, and I think that would help me feel a little bit better, because from a layman term, again, it's very confusing to look at a big giant block of nothing but numbers that doesn't really relate to anything that we know of. I mean, even myself, those numbers mean nothing, but then when I can find it as a census block, I can understand. So that's my only ask to feel more comfortable with the resolution we have before us is that we maintain that GIS with the districting as we see it currently available. And of course, maybe the first 5 options will disappear and only option 6 will remain. But I do appreciate the fact that it was there for me to double check those things as well.
So Supervisor Spati, I can speak to that briefly, if it pleases your board.
Please.
All of the draft maps will be retained over the next 10 years. So that final map will continue to be option 6. We can change the title designation to final adopted map. I'm sure Juan would be more than happy to make that change in the system. And we'll definitely make sure that the link to the map that includes the ability to investigate the census blocks is posted on our redistricting pages over the required 10-year period.
Perfect. Thank you so much. That was my only comment for this. Other than that, I'm ready to move forward. Let's go ahead and open it up for public. Any public comment in the Zoom room or the board chambers on this item? And seeing none, let's bring it back to the board, and we have a few actions. Or maybe a couple actions.
You have 3, Mr. Chair?
I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead. The first action is to adopt the resolution adopting the supervisorial district boundaries for the County of Lake pursuant to sections 21-500 et sec of the California Elections Code.
And you offer the resolution.
Yes.
Oh, go ahead.
Mr. Chair, I will offer the resolution.
Resolution's been offered by Supervisor Simon. Roll call, please, Johanna.
Okay, Supervisor Simon,
Yes.
Supervisor Crandall,
Yes.
Supervisor Scott,
Aye.
Supervisor Pyska,
Yes.
and Supervisor Sabatier.
Aye.
Thank you.
And next, Mr. Chair, is a motion to offer the ordinance and have it read in title only.
No. The motion is not to offer the ordinance. The motion is to waive reading of the ordinance and have it read in title.
Thank you for the correction. I'll leave that in the hands of Supervisor Simon.
Oh, okay, I'm finishing there.
He was brave enough to start it for us.
I should have been paying attention a little more. The motion is to
Waive reading of the ordinance.
waive reading of the ordinance,
And have
have it read in title only.
Second.
We have a motion by Supervisor Simon. I apologize.
That's all right.
And second by Vice Chair Crandall.
Okay,
Roll call, please, Johanna.
Supervisor Simon,
Yes.
Supervisor Crandall,
Yes.
Supervisor Scott,
Aye.
Supervisor Pyska,
Yes.
and Supervisor Sabatier.
Aye.
Now a motion to advance the ordinance for second reading, which can be next.
The 21st? Is there a time? Do I need to add a time on that? Okay. I move to advance the second reading of the ordinance to the December 21st Board of Supervisors meeting.
Second.
We have a motion from Supervisor Simon, a second by Vice Chair Crandall. Roll call, please.
Okay, Supervisor Simon,
Yes.
Supervisor Crandall,
Yes.
Supervisor Scott,
Aye.
Supervisor Pyska,
Yes.
and Supervisor Sabatier.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much to the entire team who worked hard on this, both our staff and our contractor from Margaret Long's office. Really appreciate all the work and looking to this impacting us and affecting our next 10 years. Oh, Supervisor Simon.
I do just want to also thank all of the public, whether they went online or attended the meetings, whether Zoom or in person, for participating in this. Very important every 10 years to do this, and I just want to make sure those folks of the public that participated and looked at the maps and came to the meetings, just want to say thank you very much, along with the help of our staff and all the work that was done on our consultants. So.
Thank you for adding that. And I have seen other counties. It does seem that we had a much easier, smoother ride than others. So again, thank you so much. We are going to move on to our 9:45 a.m. items. 6.4, presentation and consideration of the 2020 crop report. And with us, we have our Ag Commissioner. And if you would like to come up and take a seat. Good morning. If you put them right on the tip of the nose, it works great.
Okay. Total gross value of ag in Lake County in 2020 was $75,471,368, a decrease of 29% from 2019. The decrease was caused by wine grapes at 30%, timber at 98%, walnuts at 49%, and field crops of 28%. Leading crops were wine grapes, pears, livestock production, and field crops. Gross value of wine grapes was $52,509,710, a loss of $31,205,412, which that's pretty big. The tonnage was down 7,726 tons. Price per ton decreased by $456 per ton. The total acres was down by 5 acres, which is a first for me, that wine grapes acres actually declined. The problems with wine grapes was the perceived smoke damage issue and labor issues. By the way, I should have said in the first one, this is the third straight year that ag has declined in value. And ironically, once the 2017 was the highest ever, so we've gone down since the highest ever. The gross value of pears was $16,626,482, a gain of $2,060,000. The tonnage was down by 3,256 tons. Price per ton increased $168 per ton. Total acres were down 381 acres. The problem with pears is labor. It's hard to get people to pick pears at the same time that another industry is using the same labor. And yeah, I'll go into more towards the end. Livestock production was 2,553,500, an increase of 1,014,000. The increase was due to new businesses that are in the area. The gross value of field crops was $1,235,000. Although this is a decline of $485,000, it made the top 4 because of the sharp decline of the walnut industry. They're hurting bad. The walnut industry sharply declined due to overproduction, which means low prices, coupled with severe frost damage that occurred in October and November of 2019. 2021 looks like an even worse year for the pear industry because of the same circumstances. Gross value of timber decreased by 98% due to low prices caused by fire salvage operations receiving low prices. And if you have a normal operation, you're just going to sit there and watch your trees grow until the price comes up, and who knows when that's going to be. Following commodities declined in gross value. Miscellaneous fruits and nuts 4%, and livestock and poultry production that decreased 40%. The following commodities actually increased in value. Nursery went up to 39%, and vegetables 20%. It was again caused by some bias to new businesses. At the last minute, yesterday, we added hemp. And basically, as you can see, hopefully you have the new one, there were 8 growers covering 12 acres, and we have no value because they didn't have to record value, and the state doesn't give us that information, so we're stuck. Although I'm going to go on out on a limb and say probably none was sold, or very little was sold, because it appears that the demand is limited. 2019, we have even less people. I mean, compared to 2021, we have 3 people with 8 acres. So it's declining significantly. I wish to express my appreciation to the many individuals and organizations who contributed to making this report possible. I want to seems to ask me what does the future hold. For 2021, pears are going to be about the same. Walnuts will be even worse. Wine grapes will be about the same. Hemp, I already gave you already, is going to be worse. And timber, no change. So basically, whatever we have in 2020, in my opinion, is going to happen in 2021. Any questions?
Thank you very much for your presentation. Thank you so much for your report. I know that I had some questions that I had asked you, and I appreciate the fact that you gave me all the answers and gave me a little bit more clarification and understanding on this. Supervisor Pyska.
So, how much of the acreage reduction do you think is related to converting to cannabis?
Walnuts, significant. Well, not significant, that's too high. I would say with walnuts, it would be noticeable, but not maybe 5 or 10%. Walnuts are a tough one because you have abandoned orchards that you could regenerate, but if you do or if you don't. Grapes, some, maybe 100 acres. Pears, probably 200 of the acres of the 318 were for cannabis. And the problem comes in, I'll be just frank here, the inflated value of ag land, and with traditional values, with the traditional crops, values don't really match up. If the land gets too high in value, then you can't grow grapes, walnuts, or pears. It's just too high.
So it says that there's the acreage from for walnuts stayed the same for 2019 and 2020.
Correct, but 2022, I'm gonna drop that probably in half.
Okay, that's what I was wondering about.
But that's because there's no market, and there's no market, and the trees are hurting, and people may want to sell just because they can't afford to keep the property, pay the taxes, because they can't make a living off the crop.
Yeah. With the timber numbers, does that have anything to do with the mills being closed during COVID?
I don't think it does. I talked to forgot their name, but the timber person, the people that I deal with a lot, they didn't mention that. It was just that all the fires, they have to salvage the timber as soon as possible before the beetles get to them.
Yeah.
Which means, and they ship out logs. They don't ship out boards. And they have to wait until the price gets up to sell any of their trees.
Yeah, and we're definitely dealing with a significant beetle issue this year too. Okay.
Thank you for your questions and comments. Anyone else have a question or comment? I just wanted to highlight something that I wasn't quite aware of, and also wondering if you have any past data, because it only seems to show, unless I'm mistaken, for this year, and that's the organic farming.
The organic farming is in the report now.
Oh, it's a new addition to the report, so there's nothing to look at.
We added two things yesterday. One was the hemp, one was the organic. But the organic, frankly, is just acres and number of growers. The state will not provide us with any figures for value.
Right.
So I can give you that information.
But I did want to mention that at this moment in time, based on the total acres of ag that is within the report, that it looks like organic farming is approximately 18 to 19% of the total acres, which I didn't think it was that large of a percentage. And so I'm happy to see this information in front of me. But I think that the value of it would make a huge difference in understanding what is the future of organic farming in Lake County, and what could be the trends. And until we have more years of reports, it's hard to be able to do that. But I interrupted you as well to talk about the organic farming.
Well, the organic, don't get your hopes up. We have the number one crop organically is walnuts. When walnuts fall, you're going to see that acres go to half, at best.
Right.
Maybe even less than half of what you're seeing now.
Right. And I see here that it says all other nut crops, 2,051 acres, and that's about, I would say, 60 to 70% of the entire organic farming happening here.
We have some pears, but walnuts are in bad shape.
Yeah. No, thank you very much for those additions, and again, for answering all the questions. Anything further before I open it up for the public? Let's go ahead and open it up for the public. I see no hands up in the Zoom room, and go ahead and come up to the microphone.
John Moss, I'd like to know where the public can get a paper copy of this, and if it is public record, this report, and where we can find it. Thank you. If we don't have a computer.
If you don't have a computer, then you can go to our office and you could pick one up, or where we could call us and then we can mail you one. I do have a spare copy here, if you want one.
And just want to make sure you heard that, Joan, that he does have a spare copy right here, right now, and so if you want to leave today with that copy, it sounds to me like it was offered. Thank you for that.
Okay.
And yes, absolutely, this is public information. It was already placed as an attachment to our agenda, and so it has been made public since last Thursday when the agenda went out. I believe it was Thursday. And so with that, I believe that closes our public comment. I will say that it is a bit, I don't know what word to use, but the loss of the economic stimulation from ag, dropping from over 100 million to down to 76, is concerning. And I hope that either things will turn around just because of changes in the markets and whatnot, or maybe we really need to look at things and understand what policies could be made to help those things turn around. But I do know, I appreciate the report, but I'm left with some concern as to where we're going and what the trend looks like, as you said, since 2017. And so that's my last comment that I have. So thank you very much for the report.
Thank you.
Did I miss anybody's comment? Okay.
No, but I think the word you were looking for was depressing.
Oh. I didn't want to be so gloomy. Next up, we have our 10 a.m. item, discussion and consideration of board action in response to a gate on a public roadway, a 6-month review, and I believe we have a supervisor who would like to recuse himself, Supervisor Crandall?
Yes.
We'll let you know when we do our weekly calendar and get to our closed session.
I'll have it ready.
Perfect. Ms. Grant.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Oh, we have an echo. Did somebody turn on their
I
Zoom?
think your camera's on.
Yep, we see your mouse.
We see your mouse. Oh, there you are. Maybe it's you.
See you, Nina? See your picture?
Yeah.
There you
I
go.
was back here like this a minute ago. Okay. Sorry about that.
Let's try it again. And is your mic on?
Yes. No. Yes. Okay.
I think we're good.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chair. This item had come to your board on May 11th of 2021, and that was a discussion and consideration of board action in response to a gate on a public roadway. Senior Deputy Lloyd Guintovano is here, and he's going to present the item. I'm just giving you a little bit of background. In the minutes of the May 11th meeting made it clear that there was a vote of the board to approve leaving the existing gate with the condition the gate be upgraded to an automatic gate with clicker openers and have a 6-month review by the board, and have a trigger if permits are pulled for development, and ask that Robinson Rancheria keep an active list of parties in possession of a gate clicker. Supervisor Crandall had recused himself. 3 supervisors voted yes, Simon Scott Pyska, with 1 saying nay, Supervisor Sabatier. There are 2 code sections, and those have been pointed out to you before, that are significant here with regard to your board's functions. And Senior Deputy Guintovano will point those out to you. But the first is Streets and Highways Code 1486. Gates shall not be allowed on any county highway except gates allowed by the board in accordance with the provisions of Section 966. 966, if the board may provide for the erection and maintenance of gates on county highways to avoid the necessity of building highway fences. The board may prescribe rules and regulations for closing such gates and penalties for violation. Finally, I'm just going to end my remarks so Lloyd can get to work by saying that this is essentially a regulatory action given those 2 sections of the Streets and Highways Code. I would also just caution your board that there is pending litigation involving this, as your board well knows, so I would ask you to be circumspect and not go over into areas that may be covered by the litigation. This item is before you today to consider again the gate on this road and receive your status report and determine if you wish to take further action and what action that might be. I believe there are several people who are going to want to speak to this, but that's the parameter of your board's action today. And with that, I'll give you Lloyd Guintovano, my Senior Deputy.
Good morning, members of the board. Is this on?
I'm sure Sam will get you. You just got to try twice.
Okay. Is this on? Yeah. Okay. Good morning, members of the board. By way of background, and as stated in the memo that was provided in 2015, your board became aware of the fact that Robinson Rancheria had erected a gate on Foothill Oaks Drive in Upper Lake. That same year, your board has reached out to the interested parties to that gate, and on May 2021, your board made certain determinations related to that gate, part of which is this 6-month review before your board today. And those determinations were made under, as Anita cited, Streets and Highways Code, the authority provided to your board under Streets and Highways Code Section 966 and Streets and Highways Code Sections 1486, cited in the memorandum. It is important to note that this is a simple agenda item consisting of the 6-month review for your board's further response to the gate. It is not an administrative hearing. Your board's not sitting as a quasi-judicial capacity, much like when the discussion was held back in May 11 of 2021. The board's not taking an evidence, and no administrative record would be created. And any counsel who may be present and who wish to speak, who is involved in the pending litigation, they are requested to respect these limitations. And so, as Anita stated, this mainly consists of a 6-month review for further response or further action by your board.
Thank you very much. Any comments or questions on this? And I hope I didn't interrupt you before you were... Okay. So, I feel we need to at least start with some comments. I know that originally when we first saw this back in May, just to re-express my nay vote, was that there had already been a request by the Board of Supervisors, and that request had not been followed. And so it seemed to me that asking another request would just end up in the same, and here we are. It looks like to me that we are still in the same. We requested that certain actions be taken, and there's been no change. At this point, I have some questions, and I'm wondering if I see that Director De Leon is here with us, and maybe I might say it incorrectly, as our road administrator or road director? Commissioner, thank you. I knew it wasn't quite correct. I'm thinking that it would be in the right hands by saying that I'd like to request that it just be taken down and that we can move on. That was the original intent of the request from supervisors before it came to, at least to me, since I've been on the board. Again, more requests have been made and still nothing. And so I'd like to make a request. I'm thinking that the request would be, okay, we're not moving anywhere, and we're not getting to a resolution, at least the resolution that we've been requesting. And so I'd like for the request to be to just take the gate down and to ask our road commissioner to ensure that that is what happens, and not sure if that is a correct request of our road commissioner. And so I'd love to hear from Director De Leon as far as if that's within the purview of the road commissioner, or if that's code enforcement. I'm not quite sure. We see your lips moving, but we're not hearing you. Your microphone must be off. There you are.
How's that?
Perfect.
I'd actually defer to County Council on that, and if directed, then certainly we can perform that task.
Ms. Grant.
Streets and Highways Code Section 1483, the last sentence, the road commissioner shall immediately remove an encroachment that effectively obstructs and prevents the use of a highway by vehicles. There's the duty of the road commissioner to maintain the county roads, however your board determines that should be done. So there are multiple sections that give the road commissioner either the authority to remove an obstruction or that require the road commissioner to maintain the county roads. And again, your board is now looking at the maintenance of one public roadway today, so I think that would be within his purview if your board gives direction. Your board can also, removal is one of your choices, and direction to the road commissioner, it's not your only choices, I'm sure you know.
Correct. It's just my opinion of the direction to take. I wanted to make sure the board was aware of it for discussion's sakes. Thank you.
And for me, I'm just waiting to hear from all the other parties before I make any comments.
Same for me.
Okay. And I see no hands up. Let's go ahead and open it up for the public. Please raise your hand if you have a comment to make. And we have Brian Momsen. Let's go ahead and start there.
Morning, thank you. I'm the attorney that represents Gary Savoloni, excuse me, that filed the writ of mandate lawsuit against the county, and we're just exasperated at this point. We wanted the gate removed. We agree with Commissioner Sabatier's recommendations. We were willing to compromise with this clicker solution that was voted on in the May 11th hearing, but next to nothing has happened since May 11th. I've had communications with the tribe's attorney, and they got an estimate for around $8,000, she informed me, and then wanted Mr. Savoloni and the county to help pay for that. I thank Mr. Gintabano and Ms. Grant for posting some of the code sections on the website, and one of them was 966B, which states that whoever erects the gate has to bear the cost of doing so and maintaining that. So the cost wasn't the valid ground not to provide the clickers. The gates remain locked now for almost 2 years, all summer since the last meeting. There was a fire south of Highway 20 near the Como pumps in the summer that was put out in a couple hours, but there were bombers and helicopters pretty close to where this gate is. So this is just a disaster waiting to happen, not to mention an inconvenience for neighbors like Mr. Sabaloti and his wife or senior citizens. It's unfortunate we had to bring the suit, but and council was hesitant maybe to get into that, but I just want to make clear, if this gate is ordered to be removed and it is removed, the suit will be over. And
We're not here to talk about the suit. Let's make sure we talk about the topic at hand.
well, she brought it up, and I just want to make clear, if we get an acceptable resolution, there will be next to nothing left to do in the suit. It's unfortunate.
And I just want to repeat, we're going to stay on topic and not talk about the suit. In fact, it was brought up by Ms. Grant just for the point to not discuss the suit itself, as that would be a closed session matter. We're talking specifically about the gate and the process in which the board has jurisdiction to make a decision on how we move forward with the gate right now.
Well, you have jurisdiction to remove the gate. It's been locked over a county road for almost 2 years. We ask that you do so. I want to make sure I sent a letter, emailed it yesterday morning. I want to make sure that that was received and made part of the public record.
Yes, that was received.
Thank you. And one compromise solution we had was, other than just a flat-out removal, is the county has received its license plate reading cameras from the flock group, and the tribe's stated reason for this gate was to prevent dumping and mischief. If one of those cameras was put on either end of Foothill Oaks Drive, and the gate were still removed, then their concerns would be addressed. Mr. Sabaloni is here with me off camera. We'd like to bring this to an end today. It's gone on long enough. Just for the record, I disagree with Mr. Gintabano that this isn't an administrative action, but I'm not going to get into the details on that. I just wanted to put it on the record. We're here to answer any questions, but we'd like this resolved today. And if for some reason it's not, we'd like at least another check-in hearing in another few months. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next hand I see is Chairman Cromwell.
Good morning, everyone. I just wanted to, last time we spoke in May, the board did make a decision, and it was not collaborated. You've given me and our legal counsel 3 minutes, like we're community members, not like we're a government, not like this is a government-to-government discussion. So in that 3 minutes, we were led to believe we had a lot more to detail the history of it, the reason for it, and the reason for the safety of it. And when we were told that we had 3 minutes because we're a community member, that narrowed everything down for us to try to speak as eloquently as possible about the safety features of this gate. So you said earlier, about an hour ago, that you believe collaboration is needed before decision. And that wasn't done here. Yeah, we did put it off for 6 months. But the way it makes it sound like we didn't do anything when we did reach out to Public Works Director at that time, Mr. De Leon, and his quotes to us were, he wants little to do as possible, and he does not think Lake County should have any role in installation, maintenance, or operations of this gate. So there was no collaboration at that time. The decision that was made that Robinson will do this, Robinson could do that, that was after I spoke. There was nothing that allowed us to go one-on-one, who's going to take care of what. So then I reached out again in August, and I said, hey, we want to have a little bit of dialogue here between government to government, because it's really important when it comes up in 6 months that we don't look like we don't care, we don't look like we don't have an idea or a plan, but we've also been shut down from that opportunity of dealing with government to government relations and how important this gate is for the safety of our community. I would have expressed that Foothill Oaks Drive goes right in the middle of our rancheria, right where our children walk to the bus, right where our community is, in the middle of it. It does not do that to any other residents on Highway 20. It's either behind them or in front of them, but it does not go through the community. And that's what's lacking, and that's why I asked for a collaboration. That's why I asked for government to government, so that you realize that this isn't just because we want to, because we can, that our safety is at risk, not this specific one person who lives here. They have multiple outlets before they get to that gate, but you really need to be here to see that, and that's what I hope. And to be a part of a public comment Zoom room, it's hard. It's hard, because we're government. We wouldn't put you in a public comment Zoom room. We'd bring you into our meeting and let you discuss the matters that you have with us. So just wanted to share that we did try to reach out and work to collaborate with the county, because this is an important matter. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. I see no further hands up in the Zoom room and don't see any hands up in the board chambers. So let's go ahead and bring it back to the board for further deliberation. Supervisor Scott?
First, I'm a little concerned, and I don't recall the meeting that we had last in detail. I'm concerned if we only did give him 3 minutes to speak, which I don't remember if we did. I thought it was more of we came up with an idea, and I believe the tribe agreed to it, but maybe I'm completely wrong. And our meetings are open, so you're welcome to come into the boardroom for this, but I think I would like to go back and make sure I'm aware of really what happened at the last meeting.
Any further comments? Supervisor Simon?
You know, obviously, I'm with Tina. I do not remember, making it that the chair, Robinson, only had 3 minutes to speak on behalf, just like a regular public member. I thought we had a back and forth, and which I do recall, because I'm pretty sure I'm the one who offered the solution here that I felt like was a solution. And I thought there was a collaboration as we did that. And I will have to go back and review, but I think that's exactly what happened. I clearly understand from a sovereign point of view, working through something. This is something that started before I came on the board, and it had dragged from 2015 to last year when we addressed it, and we were looking for a collaborative solution. And I assumed that we had come to one. And then it was a challenge after that point, because as spoken earlier today, there was a lawsuit, and that does restrict us as board members to talk about current litigation. So I think our hands were kind of tied in that when a request came, at least to myself, to further have conversations about this. And today's the day where we could do that. And the chambers are open. Here in Lakeport, you do have to wear a mask. That is part of the requirements, but it is open. Was hoping to have it resolved, and I think today I would like to see it resolved. So those are my comments in remembering how events happened. But I think when I do go back and review, which I will, that we did have a collaborative conversation and thought that there was a resolution. I understand that there are costs that come with it, but as said down here in some of the codes that were code section 966, the person whose immediate benefit the gates are erected or maintained shall in case bear the expense of such erection and maintenance of that gate. So those are my comments, and appreciate the chair being here from Robinson. Appreciate the comments from Mr. Savoloni's attorney, and glad we're having this conversation. And we did ask for a 6-month checkup.
Supervisor Pyska?
So it was my understanding that it was sort of a collaborative discussion too, but I can't recall everything about it. But where is Robinson with the installation of the clickers, Chairman Cromwell?
Well, we did get a quote. We did look at the price for that, and my memory is that county council led me and our legal counsel to believe that we had time to, last time in May, to talk about this. Right before we went on, we got information that we're public comment and we're down to 3 minutes. That's where it came from us. that was sent from county council. So just to give everyone a little background, we were collaborative. We were trying to help. At the end of the day, when you said, how about this idea, how about this idea, how about this idea, that wasn't for me to go back to my council. I can't agree to that right here at this level without going to my board and saying, this is what was, what was said. So that's where I don't have the authority in a meeting like this to say, yes, we'll pay for it, yes, this will be done. But that's where I wanted to talk with the county and what are we going to do. And that's where nothing was able to come from that. But
so, are you in the process of installing this? Or is it something that you're not going to do?
We are, I'm not saying we're not. I'm saying that government to government, we need to know what we are going to be responsible for and what we're not responsible for. And if there's anything like that, that is what I wanted to collaborate after this decision was made, where I wasn't able to come up and speak and talk with anyone due to litigation. I understand that. But so I'm not saying no to anything. I'm saying that Chairman Cromwell does not make a decision financially in a Board of Supervisor meeting going forward. I need to take this back to our council and we'll make those decisions. So we have made those decisions to reach out, to get those quotes, to see what it's going to cost. Now we want to talk to the county on what obligations and liabilities they have with this too, as a collaborative government-to-government decision.
I'd like to ask Ms. Grant if we can again repeat that state code for roads and anyone putting in a, I don't have the right term, but a sort of gate or blocking roads, who is to be taking care of the maintenance and cost.
Thanks. 966B, the person for whose immediate benefit the gates are erected or maintained shall in all cases bear the expense of such erection and maintenance. Again, this is, the Streets and Highways Code is regulatory in nature. It is more akin to speeding tickets, those kind of things. It's an obstruction on a county road. I do have a suggestion, if your board would mind listening to it. I think that since Chairman Cromwell has indicated that he has more to say and would like to look toward a solution through further discussion, one of the things that you can do is suggest that the road commissioner go out and look at the site. They've raised an issue today about safety. It may be that the road commissioner may have a suggestion for your board with regard to this. Your board members have indicated you wanted to go back and listen to the minutes. Everyone was somewhat limited during the discussion just simply because of the pending litigation, which made any kind of an item that goes to the heart of that litigation difficult. But your board's recollection that there was back and forth and discussion with regard to whether solutions were acceptable. Perhaps it wasn't understood by everyone that a tentative decision was being made by Chair Cromwell that had to be approved by his legislative body as part of the tribal nation, so that it could not be necessarily a solution for them. The only thing, again, I would remind you is ultimately this decision is yours to make because, again, it's regulatory. But the road commissioner could visit the site, could determine what's at issue, and come back to your board with solutions consequent to his authority to maintain public roadways. If your board would like to continue this, that gives you time to go back and listen to the earlier proceedings to refresh your recollection, and also allows a more thorough response from the parties. And that would include both Mr. Sabalone and Chair Cromwell.
Thank you for your, thank you for the suggestion and for the reading of the California code as well.
And I would like to agree with Anita's suggestion. I think I need some time to go back and then bring this forward again and have the road commissioner go out in the meantime.
So, am I correct that this has been going on since 2015? As far as dealing with the road closure or the gate?
Initial action by your board was taken in 2015.
And that was to take down the gate, correct? Or to leave it open?
Leave it open, I believe, was the...
Okay. And this is where I struggle, is how much longer on a road that is in our jurisdiction would we continue to allow for people to just block a road and take 5 years, 6 years to eventually get the outcome that we've been requesting, that's the outcome. I just, and if there's I understand the process that Chairman Cromwell has provided for us, but there is law, and so I think that's kind of a quick research to figure out who is in charge and who needs to maintain whatever would happen. And that 6 months later is not the right timeline I would like to come back and say, we don't really want to pay for it, or we're not sure. I think those things need to be taken care of. 6 months later, we still have a closed road when we've been requesting that it be an open road since 2015. I struggle with continuing this because, again, at what point are we going to see someone else do something on a road where now we have more closures? I struggle with the precedent, and already the precedent, in my opinion, is something that I'm struggling with, that we're still dealing with this. And I do see that Director De Leon has his hands up, and I want to make sure he gets the time.
Thank you, Chair Sabatier. I feel it's important to clarify something here. This road has been dedicated for public use through various parcel maps, but this is not a county-maintained roadway. And we keep talking about the roads in our jurisdiction, things of that nature. Please be reminded that this is not a county-maintained road. Yes, as a road commissioner, I have certain authorities through the Streets and Highways Code, but this is not a county-maintained road. Any costs borne by my department related to this gate will need to be reimbursed. I cannot expend public funds on a non-county maintained road, and so I just need to make sure that is all clear. I should point out that had this been a county maintained road and a gate had been installed, there are a number of other provisions in the Streets and Highways Code that would have allowed me to remove the gate. But again, this is not a county maintained road. It is a public road, but not county maintained. I'm sorry to complicate the discussion, but I felt it's important to make sure that we all understand that.
And I appreciate that, and I know that the county maintained road is a whole different discussion, but it is still a county road, just a county road that is unmaintained by the county at this moment in time. Hate having that come out of my mouth, but it is the status, but it is still a county road. Any further comments? And I do see that Mr. Momsen has his hand up, and I feel that you raised your hand due to the fact of a comment made by Chairman Cromwell. I don't want that back and forth. I think if there's a question directly from the board at this moment in time, then I would entertain a comment, but I don't want a back and forth between both parties at this moment in time. Public comment has already been made. So unless there's a board member that has a question directly. So I see no further questions. So I know that there was a suggestion made by Ms. Grant, and obviously I also offered my suggestion as well, and I think we need to either take one of three. suggestions, the third one being to continue this. But if we are to continue this, I would like to request to the board that we do not continue this for 6 months. We can, if you need to revise the video or do anything else, I would suggest that we even try to maybe put this next week if possible, or at the very least in January. But I do not want to see this take much longer because, again, we do have a public road that is blocked at this moment with our request to not have it blocked since 2015. Supervisor Simon?
Yeah, and I completely agree. You know, I do agree with the opportunity to get our road commissioner out there to look at the property. I would agree with the review in January. I know probably our, you know, our calendars are filling up, but coming up with the January date would be greatly appreciated. Obviously, I know we're making changes from the chair, but that would be a conversation with, well, it's still going to be with you because our chair will be recusing himself when we have this conversation. So,
or whoever's vice.
Or whoever's vice, or whichever one it's going to be. Yeah, I forgot, it's rotating. So anyway, we're going to move through this. So my request would be that we do the extension to January, bring it back, but I also do have a request, you know, of the Chair Robinson, that we really work on a decision from the tribe's standpoint. We understand the questions that you've come back with. I think we've made our stance from the county side very clear as far as costs are to be bared by the folks that put the gate up and would like to have it there. Unless I'm stating that wrong, that is our legal stance here as a board. We will not be paying for any of those costs. And as we move forward, I just want to make that very clear after today's conversation. And it kind of will, you know, fall in the laps of the Robinson tribal government as a sovereign nation to make a decision, because in January I will be prepared to get this finalized and off our calendar. So I want to thank you, but that's my thoughts going back. I don't have a specific date in January because I don't know what the agendas look like at this point, but I would maybe request that it's the middle of January, not the initial meeting, because I know we've got a lot of year beginning stuff that happens on January 4th. So maybe January, we skip the 11th. Which date? No. I know we got some stuff coming up.
Mr. Chair, you are meeting the 11th. I don't recommend that day because you have a late afternoon agenda item that day and some department head interviews, appointment interviews. Your board does not meet the 18th because of being attached to the Martin Luther King holiday. You might want to look at the 25th. I was also attempting to confer with Johanna. Because there are no new board members coming on board, staff does believe this could be a go for January 4th, if you wish to put it up that soon. Oh, not enough time for Scott to go out.
And yeah, my suggestion was
25th?
To look at our road commissioner and other staff members to make sure that they have the time needed to complete this. And do we need to have an exact date, or could we just say in January we'd like to see this come back as soon as possible from staff?
If your board gives direction that it has to come back in January, it will come back in January regardless. It's not a public hearing, so you need not set it. However, you can if you would prefer to do so. It's totally within your discretion.
From my point of view, I think the 25th would work. That would be my suggestion. So postponing this matter and moving it to return on January 25th.
And Supervisor Simon, if this is a motion, does your motion then include that the road commissioner will be going out to talk to the parties and assessing the situation and come back with information to your board?
Yes.
And it is the date of the 25th, perhaps the time may be determined. Are you all right with that, or do you want to set it?
Yes, time can be determined, yes. I don't know if that's a clear motion, but that is a motion.
And then Chair,
so moved.
I don't know if you've closed public comment, but there's a hand raised in the boardroom.
And in the Zoom room.
I apologize if I moved too quickly.
And I did close public comment, and I know that Mr. Momsen had his hand up before. I don't believe it's a new hand, but again, I closed public comment, and I think at this point, unless there's questions specifically to the parties, I'd like to continue moving as such. And so public comment has been closed for this item. And so we have a motion on the floor.
Just a scheduling matter. I can't make the 25th. Sorry.
I would suggest that you leave it open. We'd like to see it in January, and that way we can make sure and work that all parties have the ability to.
The next date after January 25th would be February 8th. Looks fine from our perspective.
Board, do you want to inquire if that works for Chairman Cromwell and Mr. Mums?
So trying to move this thing forward, then would the February 5th, is that what you said, the February 5th, or February 8th meeting work for both parties?
That would work for us.
Okay, so it's a yes. So we will go for the February 8th meeting. I'd like to amend the motion to be stated that the meeting date will be February 8th, 2022 of the Board of Supervisors with time to be determined.
Do we have a second?
Second, sorry.
We have a motion from Supervisor Simon and a second by Supervisor Pyska. Roll call, please, Johanna.
Okay, Supervisor Simon,
Yes.
Supervisor Scott,
Aye.
Supervisor Pyska,
Yes.
and Supervisor Sabatier.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, and we will see you all in February. And if somebody can let Supervisor Crandall know that we are moving forward, and I believe the only thing left on our agenda is our closed session agenda and our calendars. Am I correct on that?
Yes.
So let's go ahead and start calendars with District 1, Supervisor Simon.
Board meeting today, depending on how long it is. Tomorrow I have the Economic Development Task Force meeting. Also have in the afternoon, we'll be coming to the Lakeport for the AVA, Abandoned Vehicle Abatement meeting, last one of the year. On Thursday, have grand jury. I'll also have in the afternoon a invitation for our home hardening project, which they'll be here all day on the 16th. I appreciate Supervisor Pyska. She'll pick up the morning, and I will be there in the afternoon. On Friday, we have Workforce Alliance in North Bay, and also a CDD committee meeting that will be happening. Back here on Monday, the 20th, I have a meeting with a constituent at 10 a.m. and then in the afternoon, I have both the CMAT. I had the CMAT meeting. I don't know, were we scheduled to meet with the CMAT
It looks
committee? I know we had it for setting up our list, but I thought we got through that. So anyway, either was a CMAT committee meeting and also the Risk Reduction Authority meeting, and then back here on the 21st, and that would be the last meeting before we go on our holiday break and ending out the year. So I would like to report also, all of the holiday events obviously were well attended through South Lake County, ending up with the culmination of the Saturday event for Christmas in Middletown. Seemed to go very well. The weather cooperated somewhat. It was very cold, but there was no moisture. It held off, so it went, a good turnout. So that's all that I have.
Thank you so much. Supervisor Scott.
Tomorrow I will be attending the Wreaths Across America that will be coming through the city of Lakeport about 5 p.m. On Thursday, I'm meeting with constituents in the afternoon. And then on Friday, administration holiday party at noon. And then I have a follow-up meeting with the public health at 4 o'clock. And then 6 o'clock in Lakeport will be the Lakeport Cruise, where the fire department will be going all over the city of Lakeport. There's a map online to be able to cheer on, I believe, Santa and our fire department. And then I will be attending Wreaths Across America at 9 o'clock at Hartley Cemetery Saturday. And then my sailor comes home for Christmas that afternoon, so that's exciting that he'll be home for Christmas. And then on Monday, I have a pit committee meeting at 1 p.m. because we will be doing our pit count the end of January. And then I have advanced training in the afternoon to continue keeping my foster care license and then getting ready for Tuesday's meeting.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, I apologize. I will also be, master of ceremonies at the Middletown Wreaths Across America. It wasn't on here, and I went right through it, but we'll also be doing that in Middletown. So
Just in case you stressed out some people, they know
I
you will be there.
apologize, Will, for not making that statement. I missed that on my calendar, so we'll be running. And I just must say, it's an honor every year to do that we're honoring those that have sacrificed so much. So it is, so thank you.
We have a redo.
I also wanted to add that Suzy Q's Donuts is selling these coffee mugs for $50, and you get a ticket into a raffle to win $1,000 worth of raffle prizes, and all the donations go to the K-9 unit here in Lakeport. So it's a great cause to make sure that we keep our K-9, our new K-9 here in Lakeport.
Thank you for the addition. Supervisor Pyska.
Okay, so tomorrow morning, I am having my interview with the Blue Zones. And then I'm going to be out all afternoon with Scott DeLeon with my tour for Public Works. And the home hardening tour will be, I'm going to start at 9 a.m., meet up with Supervisor Simon in the afternoon, go until the late afternoon, and then I've got the Cawberry Council meeting in the evening. Friday morning, the Workforce Alliance Governing Board meeting, then I'm going to be here for the holiday party, and then we'll have a CDD committee meeting in the afternoon. Saturday morning, I will be at Wreaths Across America at Middletown Cemetery with Supervisor Simon. And there's also a trail building day in Boggs. And, this is the perfect weather for me. I love being out hiking and biking in the wintertime. It's my big season for that because it's nice and cool. So I encourage everyone to get out there during the holidays when you have some time, because we have amazing trails. And if you haven't been to Boggs and checked out the trails, you're really missing out. It's a great time, especially when there's a little snow on the ground. Monday, I have my meeting with Carol. We have the CMAT meeting, and then the RRA, and then back here on the solstice for our 21st meeting.
Thank you. Vice Chair Crandall.
Tomorrow morning, I have the North Shore Business Association via Zoom agenda review. After that, should be at 9 or 9:30. I think it's 9, right? Yes, 9. West Region Town Hall tomorrow night at 5:30. Let's see. Thursday, I know there's something in the morning. I just didn't. I think I'll probably tune into some of the Planning Commission meeting. But then we have the Business Growth meeting at 11. Friday, I'll be attending the holiday party here. I have another meeting, I think it's in Upper Lake, with citizens. December 18th, I'm trying to find out more about, because I know one year I had, in request of Supervisor Simon, went over to Wreaths Across America and did the ceremony there. Off the highway where by Euro Bistro, they have rehabilitated that area. They usually have Halloween parties and all of that for the community. This one's a Christmas party, and it's supposed to be a really nice one. So we'll be attending that on Saturday. Monday, meeting with the CAO, and I'm not sure exactly what time the holiday raffle is for the NAACP. Supervisor Sabatier, I just know that I have it listed on my calendar to go to that as well.
Okay.
And back here on Tuesday.
I think I have it on my calendar. Let's see, where am I here? Closed session is probably going to take the majority, or at least the majority of our afternoon. But tomorrow, looking like that's when we'll be doing our agenda review. I have a couple of things all mixed in together. We will have the Economic Development Task Force coming together on Wednesday. It's been a while since we've done that. And then also, once that's over, I'm going to be going by the American Legion in Clear Lake to check out the mobile outreach stand-down happening there to support veterans. We have our AVA committee meeting in the afternoon, and if that ends early, which it's been a while since we've met, so it may be a little longer than usual, then I'll be able to head into the Clear Lake Marketing Committee that will be happening there. On Thursday, joining Supervisor Crandall in a conversation with Lake EDC, having a conversation with the folks from Blue Zones as well that was here today, this morning. Goodness gracious, why am I clicking everywhere? Getting on a CSAC call in the afternoon just to get an update on what's happening, and things are changing in the state of California, so I'm sure there will be a drastic update then. And also earlier, there will be a special meeting for the City Council of Clear Lake that I'll be joining them at 2 o'clock instead of their usual late night 6 p.m. meeting. On Friday, are we still set for meeting with Pat Blockwell on that day?
You know, I'm glad you mentioned that because I don't have it on this calendar, but I already set up a meeting with him Friday a while back. It got pushed back till Friday, right? Till this Friday. It was like in October, then
Yeah,
it
it
went
was
to November.
several months ago.
Yeah, no, we've been working on this one.
Right, so that's
And-
RCRC.
Yeah.
He'll be here at 9.
He was going to be here at 9. We're going to be in conference room A.
Okay. I believe also, and I don't know, but it looks to me like we have an update on our Drought Emergency Task Force as well, the early morning one. And then I will be coming by to join some of the festivities here that our staff will be conducting. I just want to show my appreciation for our staff and take part in that before I have to run away to my next meeting. Meeting with a lady that I just met over at Judge's Breakfast last week, who is looking to do some work on our lake to help clean up the lake. I know that I've connected her with our water resources to make sure that those conversations are not overlapping, but are more done in a collaborative way. And just getting the chance to meet her in person and having a conversation and seeing how we can work together and what's the possibilities. We will also be having a syringe exchange program committee follow-up later that afternoon, and I think that's kind of dependent on if all the data was able to be pulled together, and so we'll see if that happens. And then on the 20th, looks like I'm pretty empty at this moment, other than meeting with my usual CA. I have you twice on my calendar. Usually I don't meet with you twice on Monday, so it's either going to be our normal time or for some reason I have you at 11:30.
We moved it up because you were going to another event at 2 p.m. that day. I believe it was it the NAACP event?
Yeah.
That's weird that I don't have it on there for some reason.
Wasn't that at 2?
Yes, that's the one we needed.
And so I moved our time up to 11:30.
You know, it's probably one of my...
my time too, because I'm going to that.
You're going to that as well?
That was
Okay.
probably my phone mistake by putting it in my phone, and it probably went under a different email than this one, so I'm glad that I asked about that. And then preparing for our meeting here on the 21st and coming in on the 21st for our last meeting of this year, which is exciting because that means the holidays are upon us. Do want to say also in the same line as Supervisor Simon, really happy about the festivities that have been happening for the holidays. I know that I was helping out the Clear Lake Rotary in handing out food. I did not hand out any food. I was asked to do traffic, which at first I thought was great that I wasn't asked to be in the kitchen. It was freezing. But a good thing, great needed service. We know that people during the holiday season, those who struggle that much more during the holiday season, and to try and bring some kind of light into their life, I think is just something that's amazing to do, and so happy that I got invited and was able to partake in that. I do have to admit that yesterday I did not go to my PEG board meeting, and I apologize to the board for not going, but my son was part of the Christmas concert that was happening at Lower Lake, and I overheard during the concert that Lower Lake received $1.6 million, I think it's around there, just for the arts. And so looking forward to how that will be spent to enhance the arts over at Canocta Unified School District. And very proud of all of the youth that took part in the concert yesterday. It was amazing, and I'm sure that everybody appreciates being able to see these things in person again. And so with that, we're going to go ahead and, if I could find my calendar, we'll go into closed session. And before doing so, we will take a 10-minute break. But our closed session, 8.1, Public Employee Evaluation, Agricultural Commissioner. 8.2, Public Employee Evaluation, Child Support Services Director. 8.3, Public Employee Evaluation, Public Services Director. 8.4, Public Employee Evaluation, County Librarian. 8.5, Public Employee Evaluation, Interim Health Services Director. 8.6, Public Employee Appointment pursuant to Government Code Section 54957B, Appointment of Public Health Officer. 8.7, Conference with Legal Counsel, Existing Litigation pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9D1 in regards to National Prescription Opiate Litigation, MDL number 2804, case number 17-MD-2804. We will be taking up, is it 8.7?
We would like to take up 8.7 first.
We will take 8.7 and then we will, what time do you think we will read?
I wanted to ask you, when would you like me to have the department heads queued up, because we can contact them and let them know, and at what point did you want to take a lunch break?
I'd like to at least go through one, if not two, before, but I'd say one evaluation and then lunch, just because we've been here for a while and it would be nice to take our lunch before 1 o'clock. I would say, how long do you think our 8.7 will last?
How long for 8.7? I would think 10 minutes, maybe 15 maximum.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. So we'll come back at 11:25. We'll do our 10 minutes. I'd say 11:50. 11:50.
For
Yeah.
the Ag Commission, yes.
Yeah.
We'll do. And then we'll queue up the rest after your lunch break.
Perfect. And with that, we will take our break and come back in closed session. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today.